Good morning, Mr.
Good
Keeler,
morning,
gentlemen.
Chris is in. I wanted to grab, you guys talk amongst yourselves. You wanted to see a copy of the direct mail piece.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that why
Because
we're
I did
here
want to
today?
ask you about that.
What are we doing today?
So
That's what we were discussing. I think.
Yeah, explain. You have some questions. Now, there's been a controversy between you and your opponent. Your opponent, Marianne Buttenschon, is saying that you broke election law when you sent out a direct mail piece. Did the campaign send that direct mail piece out?
We did.
Okay.
We did.
So you're not denying that you guys sent it out?
No, not at all.
But there's
Why would we?
there's no disclaimer or return address. She said that breaks the law. I will tell you that Jeff reached out to the State Board of Elections, and we did receive clarification. And New York does not require a paid-for disclaimer. There is a little something in there about independent contributions.
Right.
Yes, so the answer we got was New York State election law does not require a sponsor or payer's name to appear on any political advertisements, in quotations, paid for by, with the exception of independent expenditures of $1,000 or more. A single authorized candidate committee is not required to provide for attribution of campaign advertisements.
That would mean if
you chose.
If I chose to go out, and I'm not with the campaign, if I chose to go out and say, I want Anthony Brindisi to be elected, so I paid $2,500 to put out a flyer that's anti-Claudia Tenney, or even if it wasn't anti-Claudia Tenney, if it was just pro-Anthony Brindisi, I would have to do a paid-for by, whether I had a committee or I'm just an individual. And, you see a lot of that with a lot of the PAC stuff and the national campaigns and all that.
Which they're required. But you're also referring on the federal side, which is
it's different, completely different. Yeah.
Different rules
so
and
we're
regulations.
basically, based on what Jeff looked into and the word we got from the Board of Elections, that you did not violate election law.
Of course not.
Okay.
Bill, you know what? I don't want to beat this thing to death. Basically... I think the first thing is it wasn't a negative piece. It was just highlighting my opponent's views. And apparently they didn't appreciate it. And I would have appreciated if someone would highlight my views. But really, at the end of the day, Bill, let's look at, we're going to Albany to make and decipher and to read law. And if you can't understand the very basic campaign regulations, and I don't know who's advising her, maybe you should find another place to find another way to help the community, because this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be creating law. If you can't read it, and this is very basic stuff. I mean, there wasn't anything there that had to be deciphered by an attorney or by. It's very common language.
Sometimes it is right. That is. There's a confusion, it seems, between federal election law and state election law.
Well, I don't understand what the confusion
campaign
would be,
right.
seeing that we are running for a state office.
I do want to be.
Really, there is no confusion as far as I'm concerned. I mean, let's look at the thing about.
Now you're standing up. Now you're.
You ever notice that I always stand
He's
when
standing
I'm here?
for his beliefs.
I never sit usually.
I want to say you said it wasn't negative, and in fairness, you do show her with a 3-card Monte type thing with coconuts. What is that to signify?
Well, let's look at it, and you can read it. It says, "Don't play games with the Democratic Party." Let's take a step back.
Before you do that, I do want to say it is kind of, you're poking at her because this is a Democratic primary, and I believe she's accepted the conservative.
And she's accepted the conservative
and so
endorsement.
you're taking the conservative values and saying Marianne is anti-choice, has personally donated money more than 20 times to Republicans, personally campaigned with local Republicans running against local Democrats. Marianne is against the platform of the New York State Democratic Party. So you are really,
I'll tell you this. If we're going to, and I apologize.
Oh, that's yours. Where's that audio coming from?
I thought I had it.
So in fairness, it's a bit of a hit job.
No,
it's a negative.
No, let's
you
not.
don't believe
let's
that.
not. Let's look at it for the way it is.
I was going to say that's subjective. Some people might like the fact that she's a Democrat who is endorsed by the conservative party.
It over there.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll let you answer now.
Can I?
Go ahead.
I know. In fairness, I have been doing all the
by all
talking.
means, continue on.
Yeah. Chris doesn't even have to be here, does he? We'll just continue this.
I don't even have to answer the question. I don't even know what the question was anymore. No, I do.
You know. I'm just simply saying, in fairness, it is you're attacking her values.
No, I did not attack her values. I highlighted her values.
I see that.
And let's understand that I am in a Democratic primary.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are going to carry the Democratic flag, then you need to follow those philosophies. If you look at the Conservative Party and there's nothing wrong with the Conservative Party, and we're going to be working with, when we get to Albany, we're going to be working with everyone and either side of the aisle. But right now we're dealing with a Democratic primary. And I just felt that, and my campaign felt that it's necessary to let the Democrats know what her philosophies are. I mean, you can't carry the Democratic flag and then all of a sudden jump over because the other side, and then jump to the other side. Where's our consistency? Where is actually your I guess being a Democrat and running under that Democrat, and you're fighting for a Democratic primary? Where's your loyalty?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's really the bottom line. And you can't go ahead and support other candidates against Democratic, especially being on a Democratic committee. Mm-hmm. You can't support, other candidates that are not part of your party. I mean, it's just a rule. She's a committee person. Can't do it.
Who has she supported?
Well, there's a litany of them, and they're on the card.
Okay.
So, again, and I'm not disparaging the candidates that won or the candidates that ran, because they're all fine candidates as well. But let's look at for what we're here. We're going to Albany. And it's 2-1 in the assembly as a Democrat. And if you go there with conservative values, you'll be linked in with the rest of them, and nothing will get done. We need to make sure we work with everyone. When we get to Albany, we need to make sure that we do what's great and best for our community.
I'm going to ask you.
I don't see the people that she allegedly supported on here. All the boxes say Marianne Buttenschon.
It was omitted. But that's actually off of the New York State website of campaign financing.
So there's an asterisk saying where you can get the information. And I didn't do this before, but I have taken a position doing media work for Chris Salatino's campaign, and that offers no advantage to you. In some cases,
never have, Bill.
In some cases, I feel like the last time you were on, we kind of went at it a little bit, and I think
we did.
In some cases, I feel like I put more pressure on the candidate that I'm working for, because I don't want people to feel that I'm favoring that person. So I'm here to tell you, hiring me was a real disadvantage to you. So what a mistake.
Since you brought it up, you were not part of this, or you did send this?
I didn't even know that.
Okay.
I mean, in fairness, when the story broke, I called you and said, could I see a copy of the direct mail piece? And you brought it over to me, and then that's where I received it from Chris. I had nothing to do with putting this out at all, and I'm not involved in any of the direct mail.
We're still almost sitting here highlighting it as it was a negative piece. It was a negative, and that's not the case. We were just informing my fellow Democratic voters with the facts that these are non-democratic philosophies, tenets of the Democratic Party. And I create them. And basically I follow them. So that's where the differences come in, and that's the only thing. And again, I'm not here to highlight this piece or anything else. I mean, there's so many things going on in the state and around this area and community that we can do great things.
Can I ask you about the piece? The first line is what, Jeff?
Anti-choice.
Anti-choice.
And against Planned Parenthood.
That's right.
Okay.
So is that the policy? Is that the policy of the Conservative Party, or is she anti-choice?
She is, and also it's the philosophy of the party.
Okay, so you do know that she's anti-choice,
right?
What's the other one?
Anti-funding for women's health care. Go ahead and continue on.
Personally donated more than 20 times to Republicans locally.
I'm assuming you just went to the
personally campaiged with local Republicans.
For the record, you can go to the state website. You can put a person's
name.
We
put fact check in there. You can go ahead and check
whatever's
necessary and where things were said, and it goes on and on.
Yeah.
When you look at if you accept the Conservative Party, you're against organized labor. You're against women's rights. You're against funding for women's health organizations. These are the types of things that we see on that philosophy. And then the polar opposite is our Democratic Party, which basically, like I said, it's the opposite, complete opposite. So I don't know how you can complete opposite on philosophies, on democratic philosophies as opposed to conservative philosophies. Now, that being said, I mean, and you can look up the Conservative Party tenets online, and you can also look up the Democrat. I mean, literally, one's against women's right to choose, women's rights to health care, certain health care facilities. and then the other side is against it. One supports organized labor, one's against organized labor. So you can't serve two masters.
It's hard to
It's
be.
just the way
It
it
is
is.
odd to see somebody on the Democrat line and the conservative
on the state
line.
side, it's
fair with it.
unheard of.
I don't
really.
even know where I've never seen it on the national side.
But I think it's But I think it's again,
National,
it's a
you
mistake.
tend to stay more true to your party as you get into the national. State's a little different. Certainly, local is
it
much
doesn't
different.
make a difference.
But so I want to go back to that one point though.
But we're talking about party politics here.
I know that, but I want to.
Let's not forget what we're looking at.
I want to ask though on that where it says, read that fact. Marianne is anti-choice. How did you clarify that?
She said it in the committee.
Okay, so
the Democratic committee.
Yeah, there are citations here. 1, 3, and 4 say Oneida County Democratic Committee meeting April 26, 2018. And there's another citation for the.
Let's put it this way: it's evidenced by the fact that she received the conservative endorsement.
Okay.
Period. You
right.
would not
Okay.
receive that, especially with a Republican running. I mean, it's just almost surprising.
I think some conservatives would object to what you said and how you phrased it, but let's move past that. You say she's against the
Object to what? No, let's not move past it. Let's deal with everything.
Conservatives are against women's health care? I'm trying to remember exactly how you said it. They are
women's health organizations. We're talking Planned Parenthood and people and that have they're not just clinics. They are women's health clinics. Okay, and they do not support that philosophy. Period.
correct, which is
Okay, so I wanted to clarify it. We don't want to move on unless we clarify things. So that's basically what I was referring to.
Okay, that's fair. You say she's against the platform of the state Democratic Party. That's opinion or what you've just cited here. Things like the anti-choice and things like that.
Well, that's against the Democratic Party. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
You know what I said? Look it up. I mean, if you're a Democrat, you follow certain certain.
Now,
sides
normally
of the liberal.
Democrats support Planned Parenthood. They support
women,
women's right to choose.
They support unions. They support.
And that's where I wanted to clarify that you weren't, because I'm going to tell you, on a lot of mail pieces, what will occur is you'll find that you'll take the candidate's affiliation with a certain party and say they must be against this. But that's why I wanted to clarify on the choice issue. And you're saying that she actually said that she was,
and it's fine.
And she's not.
And it's
she's
fine.
pro-life.
If that's your position.
I get that, but I just wanted to clarify that that's a fact. So.
Yes, and that's a fact. That's your position. Embrace it and move forward with it. But like I said, don't. Now we're in a Democratic primary.
Yeah.
I have to appeal to Democratic voters right now because really that's the election at this point, as far as we're concerned, and it's a primary. So again. The point is that this was to Democratic voters only. It was to people, let them understand. If you're not going to go out there and if you're going to ride the line and not really put your positions out there, then it's my duty to do it.
Fair enough.
As far as I'm concerned.
Any other questions, anybody?
Big debates. Term limits in the on both sides of the aisle. People supporting term limits.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Listen, we need reform in Albany. Period. I mean, whether it comes from election reform, which makes it easier and access. I mean, where we should be able to vote days before and have the opportunity like other states. I think we need ethics reform. I don't even think. I know we need ethics reform. I mean, we've talked about it. There's a lot of initiatives that we need to. But those
how about
are
if you were there right now, would you be for the legalization of gambling?
Yes,
sports betting.
Of course.
Sports betting.
Of course. Listen, people need to have the opportunity to determine what they want and how their lifestyle is. It's not the government's responsibility.
I don't think that's going to get through
what to do.
I don't think that's going to get through the assembly this session.
I'm not a big government guy,
Yeah.
and I think that we need to at times look at what we are legislating, and if people want something, then they should be entitled to do it. I mean, we saw the turnout here, for instance, with the MMA here in Utica.
Yeah.
Was that amazing? I mean, look at people wanted it. Why would we,
For
as
how
a
long?
governmental agency or a legislature, come in and say you can't have
Sad
that
part
here?
is New York really missed the UFC and MMA when it was at its peak.
Exactly.
The greatest years of that, we didn't get to experience
We've seen
that.
a transformation from boxing to MMA. Boxing was legal. I didn't see the difference between we're going to let this one be good and this one is.
Well,
not
you knew
good.
there were politics and
there
stuff
was
going on
politics
there.
and there's politics, unfortunately, in everything, and we'd like to see that change along the way.
Right.
But again, it's a different place in Albany, and it's time for a change. And I was there the other day. Anthony Brindisi had his they had a party for him because he's just about done after this session. And I met with a lot of younger legislators, and they're pretty amazing. The vibe was great. We're seeing the winds of change coming, and I think with new and younger people and coming in with new ideals, I think great things are going to happen.
And it would be wrong if we didn't ask the question. And you're challenging Marianne Buttenschon on her dedication to the Democrat Party. Mm-hmm. She's going to come back when we have her on. She's going to say, "Well, you were a Republican, and now you're a Democrat." How do you answer that?
Well, I've been a Democrat by action. First of all, I mean, look, I was 12 years on a nonpartisan board, so it didn't make a difference. We were Republicans back in the day when your family was, because who worked for the city, and if you didn't, you weren't that party, and if everybody wasn't, and that was the reality.
Fair
and,
enough.
For 12 years we didn't, but you look at what I've done for schools. I mean, those are democratic philosophies: free and reduced lunches, going out there and trying to embracing our refugee population in Utica, which made us one of the greatest districts in the area. Working for the New York, the housing authority on the board there, where we're treating and servicing the neediest people in our community.
Yep.
Those are the philosophies. I'm a Democrat by action. Anybody can say what they want, but at the end of the day, I'm here for all of our constituents. It doesn't make a difference, but you have to, going into a Democratic primary, you have to carry the flag.
Okay. Chris Salatino, we appreciate your time.
You know what? It's always great to see you guys, and it's great to be here.
We will be reaching out to your opponent for a comment. And this will not be the last time we chat.
No, we have a lot of things going on, a lot more things happening, and you have some great news going on around the community. So you're never at a loss for.
I'm not sure it's great.
Stories.
It's scary. It's scary news.
And frightening, but
scary, frightening news out there right
now.
Well,
it's like in the disaster business, and you see something, and it may not be good, but even the news business, it is great.
Thank you. I will not be attending a sword fight this weekend, though. I will tell you that, for the record.
The fencing championships?
I will say that plastic straws need to go away. That's all.
That's crazy. It's happening.
Initiatives, and there's initiatives coming through with removing plastics in New York, and I would support that as well.
I don't know what I'm going to do. There's no room in my house left. I have 2 rooms that are filled. One has incandescent light bulbs. The other one, plastic straws. It's going to be crazy.
Wait, are you pro? See, this is what happens. Are you pro plastic ban?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're pro?
Absolutely. I think there's no place that Mother Earth is ours, and we have to look to the future and see our landfill is just, this stuff has no shelf life. I mean, it's got a shelf life. It's got a shelf life of 1 million years. Yeah. It doesn't break down. It doesn't do anything. We're seeing what it does to our oceans, which is absolutely horrible, to our fish, to our animals, and there's no place for it. I think it's time to start reducing plastics.